As you can see, I grow my strawberries in containers on my balcony. I don't have room for a huge bed, but I still manage to get a good harvest every year, with berries this size. So in this video, I'm going to share my 10 tips and tricks so you can do it too. Let's get into it. The most important thing is the pot depth. Nobody talks about this enough, but a strawberry plant needs at least 20 to 25 centimeters of depth, with drainage holes at the bottom. And if you don't have that, the roots just circle around. Also, water sits there and the plant stalls out too. I started out with pots that were too shallow, like the low planters, and that's just not enough. Soil matters too, and this is something I got wrong at first. In containers, you need a light, well-draining mix with compost in it. Regular garden soil in a pot compacts down, it holds too much water, and then you start getting rot around the crown. You can also mix in some compost, especially after winter. Now, on planting the strawberry itself. The crown is the zone between the roots and the leaves. You really want to keep it right at the surface. If you bury it too deep, it will rot. But also, if you plant it too high, the roots dry out in open air. Such a small detail, but it's a make or break one. Regarding watering, in pots, things dry out way faster than in the ground. So I check moisture almost every day in summer. But be careful, you don't want water sitting in the saucer either, because that kills the roots just as surely as drought does. Now for sun exposure. Mine face northeast, so they get morning sun, which is actually the best kind since it's not scorching yet. They get over 6 hours of direct sun a day in summer. And that's basically the sweet spot. Now for fertilizing. In pots, nutrient reserves are limited, since they are less soil volume. So I use a food-specific fertilizer in small but regular doses. Also, watch the nitrogen. If you put too much, you will get huge, gorgeous foliage, but barely any flowers or fruit. And more fertilizer doesn't always mean more strawberries. Now, regarding runners. It depends what you are going for. If you want harvest, you can cut most of the runners, because they drain energy from the plant. But if you want to multiply your plants, keep a few runners. Ideally the ones coming off from your strongest plant, and let them root. I do a mix. I keep 2 or 3 runners per plant to refresh my stock, and I cut the rest. Also, one trick, if you are growing in pots, you can raise the pot slightly, or you can just let the strawberries hang over the edge of the container. That way they never touch damp soil. There is also the variety question, which really changes how you judge your harvest. There are 2 types of strawberries. There are June-bearing types, which give one big harvest over a few weeks, and there are ever-bearing types with 2 fruiting periods in the season. And if you don't know which category your plants fall into, you can panic thinking it's not producing enough, when really it's just not the moment yet. So you need to know that. For pollination, the flowers are self-fertile. But good insect activity still improves fruit set. And incomplete pollination gives you small, kind of misshapen berries, like this one here. So if your garden in a balcony like me is something to watch, since you sometimes get fewer pollinators than out in the countryside. So this year I tried planting flowers nearby that bees love. For example, borage, and I think it made a real difference. Also another thing regarding mulching. Even in pots, I add a bit of straw on top. It helps to hold moisture, it keeps weeds down, and it stops soil from splashing onto the fruits when I water. Now for harvesting. Once picked, strawberries barely ripen any further, so I pick them fully red. And during peak season, I check almost every day, so I don't leave overripe fruit sitting there and attracting rats. Now, what to do in winter? In pots, this is the biggest difference from growing in the ground. The roots are way more exposed to freezing than in-ground plants, since there is no surrounding soil mass to buffer the cold. So if you have several pots, it's better to group them together or tuck them into a sheltered spot. And also, every new season, I swap out a part of the soil and add fresh compost. And after 3 or 4 years, production drops quite a bit anyway. So at some point, you need to fully renew the plants. In a new pot if possible. This way you avoid carrying soil-borne disease from one season to the next. And honestly, the real difference from growing in the ground comes down to this. In pots, you have way more control over almost everything. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, you can check my video on when to plant strawberries or on how to propagate runners if you are interested. Don't forget to subscribe and to like, and see you in the next one.